Hi guys, hope you're doing good. In this video, we are going to learn about file handling. File handling is one of an important part of any web application. In Python, we have several functions for creating, reading, updating and deleting files. Let us see those things one by one with some examples. Now before do that, any physical file that you want to access may need to be mapped to an object in Python. Now how to map a physical file to an object? For that, we'll be using a function called as open, which takes two arguments basically. One is the file name, another one is the mode, and which will create or open an existing file and store it inside an object. Now file name is any name that you give, like any file that you want to create or open that you will be giving there, and mode. We have three basic types of mode in Python. We'll see that first. We have three modes. One is R, W, another one is A. These are the basic modes in Python file handling. Now R mode, if I use any create any file and put, like, if I give a file name here and in the place of mode if I give R, it means that I'm opening the file in read mode, right? I can do only read operation, nothing other than that, right? Next one is the W mode. That is like if I want to create a new file, I'll be using W here, right? So W is used whenever I want to create a new file. And make sure that you're not giving a already existing file in W mode. If I give an already existing file in W mode, it will create a new file and replace the already existing file, so you may lose the data. Need to be very careful when you're using W, right? Make sure that you're creating a new file with the help of W mode. And A mode, if at all you're not sure about whether the file is an already existing file or it's a new file that you want to create, you can better go for A. Right, it's an append mode, right? R stands for read, W stands for write, and A stands for append. So when I say append mode, if the file doesn't exist, it creates a new file and keeps it ready for writing the content to it. But if at all the file already exists, it opens that existing file and put the cursor at the end for appending the data to it. Okay, fine. So here in this place of mode, I can either use R, W, or A, depends on your requirement. Okay, let us go ahead and create a new file. Let me say the file name is sample.txt, and then I'll be giving W. It means that I'm going to create a new file. Let me give f underscore obj, that represents the file object. Now when I execute this code, I'll be creating a new file, right? So a new file will be created. That let us go and check here. You can see sample.txt, a new file is created which is empty, nothing is there inside now as of now, right? Let us try to write something to it. For writing content to the file, we have two methods. One is write, another one is write lines. Let us tell you an example for write. For example, I have say content, assign input. Let me get some input and try to write these content to the file. How will I write it? I'll say f underscore obj dot write. Now write takes one argument, that is my string. Now here I can either give a directly, I can give within single quotes, I can give some content there, or I can get some content through input function and put it there, right? Okay, now one important thing is that any file that is opened must be closed, right? Must be closed like this. So make sure that you're doing it every time you open a file and you're going to close it at the end. It is must, right? So let me run this code for you. It is expecting me to write some input. It will say, hi, this is my new file. That's it. So let me go ahead and see what is there inside that, right? So whatever you typed here, it got saved inside my file sample.txt. Got it? Yes. Now let me show you, right, what will happen if I create a new file again with the W mode. I'm going to say sample.txt, a file which already exists. Now when I go ahead and run this code, it will create a new file. Whatever content which is present inside my file will get erased. So make sure that you're not opening the already existing file in W mode. That's very dangerous, right? So let us see how to write more than one line of code, one line inside my file. Now, with the help of write function, I can write more than one file, and if I want to write more than one file, sorry, more than one line of content to the file, I can use a for loop. I'll say for I in range of 10, or let me say 2. Okay. Now let me run this 2 lines inside the for loop so that my work will get repeated, right? So let me run this code. It will say, hi, this is my new file, and then say this is line 2, this is line 3, right? So I'm just giving 3 lines of content inside my file. Let me go and see what is there inside, right? So you have given 3 different lines, but you can see my entire content is getting stored as it is in one single line, because by default my write function, sorry, by default my write function will never take new line. So what should I do? So if at all I want a new line to be stored inside my file, I'll say after writing this write, and I may need to give /n, so that after uh, uh, after storing every line there will be a new line next to it, so that you will be getting the output in the, sorry, you will be storing the content whichever I'm getting here inside the file in a new line. Let me run this code for you. Before that, let me clear the screen. I'll run this code for you. Here I'll say, hi, this is line 1, this is line 2, this is line 3. Now let me go and open the file and see what's there in that. So you can see my content is getting stored in the next line, since I've given /n here, right? /n means new line, right? It's a new line I'm going to store, right? I store the first line and then I give a new, /n, so that it stores, hi, this is line 1, and then I'm storing /n, and then the next line, and then /n, like that. So if I want the content whichever I'm getting to be stored in the new line every time I get, I may need to insert a new line manually, right? It cannot be done by default. It doesn't happen because write function doesn't take new line by default. Hope you understood this, right? Now, excuse me. If I want the same thing to be done, but I have a content within my list, let me say my list, and then I try to store the same thing here inside my list. Let me copy and paste it here. I'll say hi, then comma, this is line 2, comma, this is line 3. I have some content inside my list, and if I want to store the entire list into my file, right, I don't have to do a loop and then read everything and store it with the help of write. I have a method called as write lines. I'll say f obj dot write lines, and then say my list. Now write lines method will take list object, right? So which will take iterably take the values from the list and store it inside my file, right? Let me run this code for you and let us see what's happening there inside. Now again it's getting stored in the single line, because either write line or write doesn't take /n by default. So what I just go and give /n here, so that solves my problem, right? So let me run this code and let us open it again. Yeah, you can see, hi, this is line 1, and then line 2, line 3, everything in the next line. So these are the two methods, that is write and write lines, which helps you to write the content to the file. Okay, now let us see what are the methods that are helpful for me in reading content from the file. For reading the content from an already existing file, I'll be using mode R, right? That's read mode. I can use only read operations, and make sure that if I use a W mode, I can use only two methods. One is write and write lines. I cannot use read to read the content from the file. I can only write the content to the file. And if I want to read some content from the file, I'll be using a method called as read. So let me say contents assign f underscore obj dot read. Now this read method will read the entire content from the file, not one line or two line. The entire content of the file will get read and will be stored inside the variable, a string variable. Now let me say print and then say content. Now here nothing will happen to the file because I'm just opening it in a read mode. Now you can say it read the content and then it's printing here. Let me clear it for you so that you can understand it. I'll do it again for you. So it read the entire content from the file and printing it as it is. Can you see that? Yeah, this is read. And if I want to read only one line, I don't want to read the entire file. I want to read only one line. I'll say read line, not read lines, it's read line. Now this will read only one line. How this reads? Wherever my cursor is, when I open the file in read mode, my cursor will be at the starting or the beginning of my file, right? It will be here at the beginning of the file. From here, this will start reading everything till it encounters a slash n, that is the new line, right? So here, from here to here, everything is okay. Next is the new line. So it will stop reading. Read line function just goes to the file from where the cursor is, start reading till it encounters a new line. So that is how it works, right? Now there is one more thing that is called as read lines. Let me comment this out. The read lines method reads the content and stores it inside a list. Let me say lst just to represent it as a list. Now let us run this code. You can understand the content is getting stored inside a list. Can you see that? Right, let me clear this and run it again. You can see the entire content of the file will get read and then will be stored inside the list. And you can see there is a slash n at the end of it, right? It means that this is at the after this end of this there is a new line, right? So we have seen three methods to read the content from the file. One is read, read line, another one is read lines. We have one more thing that is called as excuse me, read with the number of values, right? So let me say f object read, if I say 10. So when I say read 10, let me say line, then say read 10, and I print this variable line, it prints only the first 10 characters. It means because when I say read of 10, it reads only the first 10 characters. Now if I want to read it again and again, I'm not sure that how much content is there inside my file. I'm not sure about it. So how will it read it? Let me use a for loop to read it continuously. Let me remove this, not required for me now. If I want to read the entire content, but not with read, because read what it does, it reads the entire content at one single point of time, which may like lead to some problem, right? Because you're doing it at single point of time, trying to read the entire content, like that's become tedious, right? So what we can do is we can read some few lines of code, right, or few characters, and then do it repeatedly, right? So let me do it repeatedly. I'll say while, I have to give some condition. I'll tell you what would be the condition, and then here I can say print line, and then I can read it again. So I'll be doing this process again and again and again. Now how will I reach the end of the file? What will happen when I reach the end of the file? When it hits the end of the file, then the read function returns the empty string. Read function returns the empty string. When read happens, when there is nothing, when it reaches the end of the file, it will return an empty string. So when it returns an empty string, let me say line not equal to empty string. So empty string means there is nothing in that, right? It's an empty string. It's nothing there inside that. Okay, so let me run this code for you. So it reads, this is line 1, th is this, like it's reading everything. You can see the difference, right? This is, and then there is a space there because it is like doing it next to next. right? It is not doing it continuously, right? Because if it does continuously, one line, second line, it will happen. Like since it is reading 10 by 10, if I don't want that to happen, I can say end with this, right? So when I say end, by default my print line will go for the next line, correct? You know that when a print statement is there, like by default first time it prints, second time it goes to the next line. That's the reason we are seeing this, right? First time it read the 10 characters, after reading the 10 characters, second time it reads the 10 characters, and with the it goes to the next line, right? So we can avoid that with the help of end equals space, or end equals nothing. It means that I'm not going to the new line, right? So this is how you read till the end of my file. Okay, hope you understood this, right? Okay, now let us see. And one more thing I forgot here, because everyone tends to forget that, right? I forgot to close it. It's very important that after opening the file you may need to close it. Now here I forgot. This leads to leak, right? So this leads to leak. Now how to avoid this? If at all you're not much sure about closing and opening a file, better you can go for context manager. What is context manager? Let me tell you what is context manager. Let me remove this and give a different example for you. Before that, let me clear the screen. The context manager will be using the keyword called as with. The same file, let me open with open, and then say, let me open the same file sample.txt, and then open it in read mode. I'll say as, I'll say file, oh, it's a keyword, let me say f underscore obj, right? So this is going to act like your file object. But here when I use with keyword, it's a context manager which helps me in closing the file immediately after coming out of this block. So when I come out of this block, one thing that is going to happen for me is closing the file. I don't have to close the file explicitly. It is not required for me to close the file explicitly, right? So this is always better. It is always better to use context manager rather than going for opening and closing the file, because we tend to forget things. It's always better to go for context manager. Now how to use this? The same thing, right? Let me say contents assign f obj dot read, and then say print contents. Let me run this code. It's going to read the content and print it as it is. Now whether I just want to know, you may think like, how do I know that whether the file is closed? Okay, let me say if the file is closed, I cannot read anything, right? So let me say the same line here. Let me try to use this line here outside the context manager. Let me run this code again. Now it reads everything, and when I try to read it, it's saying IO operation on closed file, right? I'm trying to do an input or output operation on a closed file. So it means that I've closed the file, right? The file is closed completely. Got it? Okay, fine. Or else I can say if f underscore, or I can say prints f underscore obj dot closed. So when I say f underscore obj dot closed, and let me try to run this code, you're getting true. It means that the file is closed. So when I say f underscore obj dot closed, it means that my file is closed. Very simple, right? So you don't just have make a note of this attribute that is closed, which is there in my file handling object. Okay. Now let us do some other operation with the help of same context manager. Let me say read line. It reads only read lines. It reads the lines and prints it in a list. When I say read line, it reads only the first line, right? And if you feel that I'm doing it like using read line, let me say I want to read it, and if I want to use a loop, I'll say while, I'll say contents not equal to space, because whenever whenever my file reaches end, my read will return null. There is an empty string, right? And here I need to do this again. I'm doing the same process, nothing. I'm just doing it inside the context manager. That's all. Let me clear the screen for you. Got it? Yeah. Every time you can see that closed is true. If you want, you can just comment this out. It's not required for us. And if you want to read some 100 characters or 10 characters, yeah, that also you can do. I'll say 10. You can say 10. And by default, it goes next line. So let me say end space. Let me run this code for you. It's working perfect. Yes. So context manager helps you in closing the file by default. You don't have to do it again and again. Hope you understood, right? Now, if I want to add some extra line at the end of my file, I cannot use a write operation here. Let me try to give you that, right? I'll say f underscore obj dot write of. You'll say this is end of the file, right? Now let me try to run this code for you. As I said already, when I open the file in R mode, I can do only read operation. I cannot do any write operation. Now here I say value error. Oh, I'm sorry, right? I'm doing it with the context manager. Let me do it inside. Okay, done. It's saying unsupported operation, not writable, right? You can say it's not writable because when I open the file in R mode, it means that I can only read. I cannot do anything other than reading operation. If I want to do something to write it, I'll just say R plus. I already said that I have some add-on operations, that is R and B. When I say R, that is read and write. Let me tell you that. I have something add-ons that is plus. When I say R plus, it opens the file in read mode and also allows you to do write operation. When I say W plus, it creates a new file in write mode and also allowed you to do read operation. And A plus, the same thing, it also allows you to do read operation as well, right? So this is what R plus does, W plus and A plus does. So that is called the add-on that I'm doing it with the read operation. Now when I say R plus, let me run this code for you and check what's happening. Before, when I say R, it doesn't allow you to write, but when I say R plus, I believe that it would have allowed you to write. Let me go and see here. You can see this is the end of the file. This is end of the file. Got it? Yes. And if you want to read everything, yes, I can go and read. Let me say print and then say f underscore obj dot read. Now what this read method usually does? Read method usually reads the entire content and print it, right? So let us try to do it, right? First I have printed this and then I'm writing this. Let me say print, I'll say printing again. So let us see some difference, right? Printing again. Let me say printing again and let me run this code for you. Before that, let me clear this. Now it printed this, printed everything, and when I say printing again, you cannot see anything. It's empty. Why is that? Can anybody, you cannot understand, like I've read, yes, it has to print, but it didn't print anything. It just did printing again, that's all, but nothing else happened there, right? So let me go here, not here, I'll go to the file and remove this end of the file because it is done twice. Let me save this and go here. Let me do this again for you, for your understanding. Let me run this code again. Before that, let me clear this. I'm running this code again. I said, hi, this is line 1, hi, this is line 2, this is line 3. That is what it's getting printed here, right? This till this it's happening. And after that, I'm writing something to it, which is getting written inside my file without any problem. Yes, it is written. But when I say reading, it is not reading anything. It is just printing an empty space there. It's not printing anything, empty. Why is that so? Because when I do something to my file, when I write something to my file, my cursor will go to the end of the file. Now here, my cursor will be here. That is at the end after writing everything. When I say read, it only starts reading from the cursor position. What is the cursor position here? From here. It cannot read anything. Can it read anything from the end? Nothing is there. So what should I do? I need to go to the starting to read it. How will I do it? If at all I'm doing reading and writing operation together inside a file, make sure that before, after completing the read, before starting write, or after completing the writing, before starting read, make sure that you're moving your cursor position. You're moving your cursor position. For that, I'll be using a method called as seek. What is that? Seek. So seek usually takes two arguments. One is offset, another one is from where, right? So this is syntax for it, right? So I'll say fobj dot seek offset and from where. Now what is from where? Offset, I'll tell you from where first what is from where, and then I'll go for offset. Now from where has takes three things, like it can be either 0, 1 or 2. 0 means starting position of the file. So which means that my seek will take, if I give 0 here, my seek will take my cursor to the starting position of the file. And when I say 1, it's a current position. If at all my cursor is in between somewhere, so it will be staying there only, it will not move anywhere. 1 means don't move anywhere, be wherever you are. And then 2 means end. So it will go to the end of the file. Now offset, what is this offset? From starting, how many bytes I need to move, or from the cursor position, from the current cursor position, how many bytes I need to move, or from the end, how many bytes I need to move. This offset can be only positive when I give 0, because from the beginning I cannot go back. And this when I give 1 here, it may be depends on the position where you are. If you are at the position in between, either you can give the offset can be negative or positive. If I give my offset as negative, it will go backwards. If I say positive, it will go forward. And when I say 2, it goes to the end of the file, and your offset can only be negative, right? I'll repeat, for starting the offset can only be positive, and if my if I give end, then my offset can only be negative, because from the end I cannot go forward, I can come only backward. And if I say 1, it is current cursor position, depends on the position. If your cursor is in between, either I can go backward or forward. So it means that my offset value can be either negative or positive. Now let me say that after writing, I may need to roll back, that is I need to go back to the starting position. To go to the starting position, I'll say fobj dot seek, and then I need to give go to the start. So when I say go to the start, I don't have to give the offset position, because I want to go to the starting position to the, that means that either giving 0, 0 is same as just giving 0, right? So let me run this code again for you. You can see, right, it read the contents, that is this is first line, this is second line, this is third line, and here it writes this is the end of my file to my file, this is the content which is written to the file, and then again I am saying fseek 0, it means that going to the starting position of the file, from there start reading everything. So it read everything and then it prints it. Got it? Okay, fine guys, let me give some other example on how to read a JPEG file or any image file, right? Okay, let me show you that I have a image called this mycode.jpg, right? And I'll try to use this code here. What happened? Okay. So, okay. Let me write the program with open, that is my code.jpg, and here for reading I'll not use R, I'll be rather using RB. Whenever I want to read a image file, I'll be using RB. Whenever I want to write an image file, I will be using WB, right? I'll say F underscore read obj, and then let me create a new file. So I'll say, if to create a new file, I'll say with open, I'll say copy code.jpg, comma, here I'll be using wb. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this image and put it in a new file. I'm going to exactly copy the file and create a new image file as f underscore write underscore obj. Now how will it read? As usual, if I read the normal content, I can just go and read the image file. How will I read it? I'll say f underscore, sorry, read underscore obj dot read, right? And how, where will I store it? Let me store it in img, a variable called as img. And then if I want to copy, after copying this, I'm going to create a new image file and then store it, right? Here I've created a new image file, that's a new JPEG file, and I'm going to store it inside this JPEG file. How will I do it? I'll just say f underscore write underscore obj dot write of img. That's it. Now let us run this code. Now, after running this code, you got this code of my JPEG, right? Whatever is there here in my code is just got copied as it is in code.jpg, right? I know this is a very long video, guys. That's it for this. If you have any doubts or queries, please comment in the comment section. And if you want more explanation on this, comment there as well. I'll try to give as a part 2 video if at all you require it, right? And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also click the bell icon to get more notification. Thank you very much.